Welcome to Stark County Reflections, a program about you and all of the other dedicated people that make Stark County such an interesting place to live. No other community throughout the nation is more diversified in the cultural, educational, and commercial activities as those found in our area, Stark County. So join us now for the next 30 minutes while we focus on a few of these people and the unique contributions that they make to the Stark County community. Good evening and welcome to another edition of Reflections. I'm Dick Crable. My guests this evening are not strangers to this area. I'm going to be talking to Monarch Bill Reinhardt and past Monarch Chuck Jackson from Nazir Grotto. And if I talk to them like I'm real familiar with them, it's because I do belong to that organization. We had some phone calls before on another show saying, Dick Crable, why'd you act like you were a stranger with him? I want to welcome you to the show, Bill, and Chuck, which I've had. Chuck's been on the show before, and this is Monarch Bill's first time, right?
Correct.
How do you feel?
A little shaky.
Well, I told you it's going to be a piece of cake. Yeah. Bill, how long have you been a Nazir Grotto member?
I joined the Grotto, I believe, in 1982, so it's been 11 years.
11 years. Wow.
I joined the Nazir Grotto, and I got into the clown unit, and I've been in the clown unit ever since then also. And I've gone through the offices of the clown unit up to president, and I had that for several years. And then when I ran through the line at Grotto, I had to get out of that. So
I'm going to have to tell ladies and gentlemen that Rhino is a clown. That's his clown name, Rhino. And but you do a good job down there. Now, you know, if you've been in the Nazir Grotto for 11 years, Bill, how long have you actually been in the Masonic order?
Well, it's the same thing. It's I joined that in 1981, I believe. That was
1981.
Yes, I belonged to Canton Lodge 60, and I think my father-in-law is really the one who interested me in that. Was Wayne Dickerhuff,
right?
And he got me interested in the Grotto and clown unit also.
Yeah. Yep. Well. A lot of the people don't know who Wayne was. I don't think we've ever had a chance to get him on the air here or talk to him at all. But maybe we can explain to the folks that Wayne was our monarch.
Right. Last year he was monarch last year, and he passed away during his term. And one of the other gentlemen had to stand up. And
I know you moved into the Nazir Grotto line of officers. I think you moved up two officers up, Sergeant, 2 chairs up.
That's right.
You come in as
Master of Ceremony, really.
Master of Ceremonies.
Up to Chief Justice, and then
Chief Justice.
The Monarch this year.
The people out there might not know the steps in the line of the Grotto. Maybe you could explain to them where you actually start.
Well, actually, you start at the Marshal, which is like a hey boy. Anything anybody wants, hey boy, go give me this. And then you move up to the prestigious level of Venerable Prophet, where you get to yell at the new hey boy. And from that you go to Master of Ceremony, which is the guy who conducts all the social functions. He sets up the dances, the bands. Anytime you have a dinner, he sets up the meals. And then you go to the Chief Justice, who assists the monarch, and he gets ready to be monarch. And a monarch is what I call the head janitor that runs the meetings. Which is not true, but it's just a private joke between me and the guys down there.
Well, you also know that we call you behind your back. We do call you our fearless leader.
Well, there's one gentleman down there calls me Monarch William. So like
I don't know who started Monarch William, Bill.
Denny.
Huh?
Denny.
Denny Bender started that.
He did.
We'll mention his name. You know, we're in a new building, which we're very proud of. And I would like you to tell the people some things about our building. When do we have our dedication?
Well, we had the dedication for the building last year in October, which was around the 20th, 21st, something like that. And since then we've had several dances. We had the last year's Monarch's Dinner, and we've also had New Year's Eve, which we had a live band. We had a disc jockey for the New Year's Eve. We had a turtle dance, which we had a live band, and we had like 180 people, which is a pretty good crowd. And everybody had a good time. And in March, we've got scheduled a St. Patrick's dance and Master Mason night. So if you're a friend or you have a friend who's a Master Mason, you can bring him and kind of introduce him to the Grotto, and hopefully he'll want to join, see how much fun it is down here. through the summer we have different activities up all the way. Every month we have something scheduled, and except for around August and September when we work the fair for the basketball, and that's where we make some of our funds for our humanitarian fund.
Well, I'm not going to leave you sit there by yourself and carry the load tonight. I'm also going to talk to past monarch Chuck Jackson, who, you're not new to the show, are you, Chuck? We've had you around a few times.
Yes,
here,
I've been on before a couple of times.
Yeah, but you've always done a good job. How long have you been at Nazir Grotto?
Oh, around 23 years.
23 years at Nazir Grotto.
Yep.
Well, during that 23 years, you've probably had quite a few experiences. When you started Nazir Grotto 23 years ago, is that when you got in the line down there?
No, I became secretary then. Shortly after that.
Uh-huh. Well, when did you get in the line?
Well, I got in the line in about 1980 or 81 when I got in the line. And I became monarch in 84.
1984. People are going to wonder the differences in your fezzes, because the first thing people do when they see a Nazir Grotto prophet out wearing their fez, they want to know why some of the tassels are red, some of the tassels are purple, why you have the sunburst on there. Would you mind explaining that, how that is, Chuck?
Well, our regular prophets have a red tassel, which is members and officers below the monarch. The purple tassel becomes the distinguished, let's say, honor when a past monarch, or when he becomes a monarch, and then continues into the past monarch. And once you're past monarch, it's always been the purple tassel line. The sunburst that is in the center of the fez is also a distinguished mark of a past monarch. Most of those are not normally carried in the regular grotto or regular officers or prophets of the grotto. And what you see mostly is a Makani head in the center of a fez in the front.
It's like on the monarch's
Right.
fez.
And that is normally continued through any officer until you become past monarch. Then you get the sunburst.
And as you and I know, and of course our people watching don't know, the only ones that are honored to wear the purple are monarch, past monarch,
And past monarchs.
and past monarchs. Chuck, you're still an officer at Nazir Grotto.
I've been one for over 21 years.
Still an officer. What's your office this year?
I'm trustee yet.
And you really got your hands full down there right now, don't
Well,
you?
we've had them full in the past year or so, yes.
And you're doing a lot down there. Tell the folks some of the things you are doing down there.
Well, first of all, we built a new building starting about a year ago. And we just got into it in last September. And we're very proud of our building. It's everything is new. It's beautiful inside. You look at it from the outside, and you would not believe the size of it on the inside. The building is only 48 by 96, but it's well laid out. And we've got a nice ballroom. We've got a little secondary ballroom that we could make, or a little party room. Of course, the restrooms. We've got a little basement in it, which we have and call our Yekmar room for the prophets. And nice kitchen. Well laid out. And everybody that comes in from all over the realm is really appreciative of the grotto we have, the building we have. And we have quite a few members that are now maybe been out 2 or 3 years or 5 years, coming back and joining us. And they're really enjoying the new building. And we enjoy it.
Chuck, I know that when I've stopped down in the daytime, the phone is ringing and you're running and answering the telephone. You're running the hall too, aren't you?
Oh, yes, we rent the hall. It's going to be rented for wedding receptions, parties, or whatever. Matter of fact, there's a sausage breakfast put on by the Vietnam veterans down there a week from Saturday. And they're renting it for that because it's so well equipped for the handicapped to get into.
Oh, I see.
So they're going to be doing that.
Now, if somebody would want to call us down at Nazir Grotto, You know the telephone number right
Phone
off?
number down there is 588-8323.
Okay.
And we're normally there from someone's there around 9 o'clock in the morning until at least 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
You know, I know, Chuck, that you're involved in a lot of things at Nazir Grotto. You're in the help unit.
I'm in the help unit. I'm one of the clowns.
You're in the Past Monarchs unit.
Past Monarchs unit.
And Past Monarchs, I know are they're meeting once a month.
Once a month we meet with our wives and go out for dinner and so forth and have a real good time. Really appreciate them.
Back to you, Bill. We know that we have some help down there now. We've got the Ladies of the Cauldron back at Nazir Grotto.
Correct. This is the wives of the prophets and or women who have a Masonic affiliation somehow through a male member. You know, some of them are widows, of course, and I'm glad they still keep involved, because they're a big help. Like we've got two ladies who are what we call Con Mama, which is Becky Lewis. Her husband died a few years ago, but she's still active in the grotto and helps us out quite a bit with cooking, setups, anything we need. And, of course, now Dottie Dickerhuff. She's also one of our bigger helpers. And, of course, Charlie's wife, Esther, and she almost is a widow because he lives down there at the grotto, so she's by herself most of the time.
Right.
And we appreciate Charlie and his help, and we really appreciate Esther and hers. Some of you forgot to mention in the new buildings, we do have a little stage there also in our ballroom.
Oh, yes.
You know,
Band, yeah.
Monarch Rhino, I'm going to be in deep trouble. I'm going to be in deep trouble if we don't mention my wife, Mary Jo.
I didn't want to say anything, but
no, that's fine.
I better thank Mary Jo also
because
she is really a help. And it seems like every time I come down there, she's down there cleaning, decorating, doing something, and even cooking especially.
Yeah.
At our stated meeting, she seems to take the handles on that, and she cooks a little dinner before our meetings. And her and Esther have really done a great job putting on these spaghetti suppers we have, and sirloin, or not sirloin, but steak dinners, Swiss steak dinners. Yeah.
Hey, you can mention to the people about it's a monthly thing now. The second Friday and the fourth Friday of the month. The dinners.
The second Friday is spaghetti. We're going to serve from 4 o'clock till 7. And the fourth Friday, which is this Friday coming up tomorrow, matter of fact, is Swiss steak. And you get all the trimmings, and everything, dessert, and everything is included in your meal.
Chuck, tell them where to come by so they can see the sign out there and a number to call.
Well, if you go down Duber Avenue, past the post office there at 6th Street, there's a sign out there that says about our spaghetti dinners and our Swiss steak dinners. And there's one on 6th Street right in front of our building, right by the telephones. And anybody can come or welcome. We serve, as I said, from 4 to 7. And if you don't get enough to eat, I'll just blame me and my wife. We don't make much difference about that.
I will tell the folks this, that they're going to get plenty to eat at Nazir Grotto. Believe me, I try to get to as many of the dinners myself as I can. Well, it's really been nice having you on the show this evening. We're starting to run out of a little bit of time here. We're going to have another guest come in here who you're both familiar with, and I'm going to ask you to stick around and watch.
Sure.
Okay? So I want to thank you both for being on the show, and we will be right back with Larry Bell from the Sons of the Desert. We're back with Larry Bell, who is a member of the Sons of the Desert, and I'm going to welcome Larry. Larry, how are you this evening?
I'm fine, thank you.
I'm really glad to have you on our show.
I'm very happy to be here.
And I've got to tell the people how we got Larry on the show. Larry Bell was down at our Clown Appreciation Night at the Nazir Grotto a few weeks ago. And this man has some knowledge about two of my favorites that we're going to talk about this evening, and that is Laurel and Hardy. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Larry, how did the name The Sons of the Desert come about?
The Sons of the Desert was a 1933 film that Laurel and Hardy were in. And in 1965, a gentleman named John McCabe asked Stan that he would like to start an appreciation society and call it The Sons of the Desert after that film. And that's how it started.
You know, I have probably seen Sons of the Desert because, my golly, Laurel and Hardy are two of my favorites. I don't know anybody out there that hasn't actually watched Laurel and Hardy before. And did they wear the fez like you're wearing in the movie? I'm trying to.
Yes, they belong to a fraternity similar to the Shriners or the Grotto. Yes, and then the story was about trying to go to a convention and not tell their wives about it.
Well, how long have you been with the Sons of the Desert?
I've been with the Sons of the Desert since 1987.
And knowingly, you probably have been a fan of Laurel and Hardy
from the first time I saw them on TV when I was a young boy. And I loved them ever since.
How long were Laurel and Hardy together, Larry?
They teamed in 1927, and they were together till Oliver Hardy's death in 1957, so they were a team for 30 years.
Had they met previously, or they just...
Yes, they did. In 1919, Stan Laurel was making a film called Lucky Dogs, and Oliver Hardy was playing a heavy in that film, a robber, and they had a scene together, and so that was their first movie they happened to be in together, but they weren't officially a team until 1927.
Well, these guys, they seem like entire opposites. Is that true?
Well, in their characters, they were basically childlike, but off screen, they were friends, but they were opposites. Stan stayed at the studios, and he would watch the rushes and do the cutting, and he did a lot of the gags. Oliver Hardy was a fine actor, and at the end of the day, though, he would leave the studio.
What studio was the...
They worked at the Hell Road studio, which was known as the Lot of Fun, because they had so much fun making movies there.
Now, they made other movies at Hal Roach also. Is that where the... I don't want to get off Laurel and Hardy, but didn't some of the R Gang...
The R Gang was formed there. We had Charlie Chase. We also had Thelma Todd and Zazu Pitts were done at the studio.
Well, these are things that I used to like to watch on Saturday mornings. You know, and I'm just a real lover of Hal Roach movies. And bringing up Hal Roach, you met him, didn't you?
Yes, I had the opportunity to meet Hal Roach in 1987. He was 95 at the time, and the man was in excellent health and real interesting person to talk to. He loved the Browns, by the way.
He loved the Cleveland Browns,
yes.
Huh? Good for Hal Roach.
Mm-hmm.
Did Laurel and Hardy, were they married?
Yes, they were. Stan had one child named Lois, and she's very active in Sons of the Desert. And
if I remember right, Larry, I had seen a picture of this lady in your...
Yes, we also met her in 87, and it was an honor for us to meet her because of the comedy genius of her father.
You know, wouldn't it have been nice if you could have met one of the two, Laurel or Hardy themselves?
No, it was one of the things I regretted, and as a child, I always wondered where I could write to get their autograph or something like that. And I found out much later that Stan Laurel kept his phone number and address in the Santa Monica phone book, that anybody could call him. And at the time of his death, he was months behind in his fan writing.
Isn't that something? Well, I know in our earlier conversation this evening, you were telling me about some of the conventions that you have attended, mm-hmm. and some of the people that you have met. I mean, you know, let's talk like Tony Caruso. Is that the gentleman's name?
Yes. They bring in people at these conventions. We have conventions every 2 years, and last July we had it in Las Vegas. And they bring in stars who played in Laurel and Hardy films or who worked at Hell Road Studios. And Tony Caruso was in a film called Jitterbugs with Laurel and Hardy. And they brought in a number of the R Gang members, and like Tommy Butch Bonds from the R Gang, but Tommy was also in a Laurel and Hardy film called Blockheads. Nita Garvin was an actress who comes to a lot of the conventions. That was in a number of Laurel and Hardy films, and there was quite a few celebrities there.
Besides the convention that you attended there, has there been a convention in this area at all?
We just, the big business tent that I belong to is in Cleveland. And they usually meet about 10 times a year, and it's just showing Laurel and Hardy films and having as Stan Laurel would say, a swell time. And they have a banquet maybe once a year around Christmas.
Well, now, where could I go get a Laurel and Hardy sweatshirt? My wife and I are sweatshirts.
Well, it's really hard to get by with something like that. You'd have to go to one of the conventions, and so plan on New York next year.
So they really don't have a trademark that anybody is allowed to just sell their memorabilia. Is that correct?
Well, there is a problem. Larry Harmon has the rights to Laurel and Hardy, so that you can't sell merchandise. No.
When you go to these conventions, can you buy like Laurel and Hardy tapes?
Well, of course, that's they can sell the tapes, yes. There's not you can't have a private person selling them to you. That's right. Through the organization.
Is it hard to get like the Laurel and Hardy stills like that you acquired, or is that something that you basically have to acquire when you're a son of the desert, correct?
I've been getting a lot of my stills through there's film festivals around the country, and they have Laurel and Hardy films stills, and we also have them at the convention that you can buy the stills.
You know what really amazes me is some of the locations that these guys use for their movies.
They did use locations around the Los Angeles area, yes they did, and some of the homes they used look exactly the same as they did back when they were making those films. And when we were out in Los Angeles, we got to go to some of the locations and see the homes. And the people come out and say, "Why are you looking at my home?" And we say, "Well, Laurel and Hardy did this film here." And they go, "Oh, yes, we know why now." And we have friends out there that in one Laurel and Hardy film called Big Business, they tear up James Finlayson. He was an actor who they played in a number of Laurel and Hardy films. It was his home in the film that they were tearing up. Well, that door, our friends have that in Los Angeles now at their home that Laurel and Hardy tore up.
You know, I think one of my favorites is a music box.
That was an Academy Award winning film in 1932. It's for Best Short Subject.
With the piano.
Yes.
And how many flights of stairs did that piano go up? There had to be, 5 or 6 big flights of stairs.
That's correct, yes. And they'd take that piano up, and they would go back down the steps, and they'd take it back up. And we were at that location, and it was really something to see, those steps in person.
And you showed the picture.
Yes.
And, of course, since then they've... when was that film?
That film was 1932.
Okay, and of course, since then there's a property or a building on the left side of it.
That's correct.
And the building on the right side was there during the filming.
Right. The steps and the houses look basically the same as they did back when we were filming that.
That's just amazing. It really is. Did Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy both live in the Hollywood area?
Yeah, they lived in that area, and they never knew that they were popular as they were until they left that area and they did tours, and there would be thousands and thousands of people would meet them at the train station. And
I mean, these two men amaze me so much when I watch their film. Which one of them would you say would have been the spokesman? Who thought up these ideas?
Well, Stan on the screen was quieter than Ollie. Ollie was like in charge. But off camera, Stan was the creative force behind the filmmaking. And he loved that business. He grew up in that. His parents were in the theater in England. His mother was a stage actress, and his father was a manager of a number of the music halls in England. So he just had a love for comedy all his life.
Is it true that he spent a lot of time on the set, even when he wasn't working?
Oh yes, he spent hours at the set, the studio, working on to make sure the films were perfect. That the comedy would be the best it could possibly be.
And I noticed some of the stills that I had looked at. The one where I believe it was Oliver Hardy was on the ladder, and I think he had a cigarette or something in his mouth. And how they filmed that, I mean, just looking at it, I would be afraid to do something like that. Some of the stuff they pulled, I have no idea how they did some of those scenes. It's just to make us laugh, and that's what they did, make us laugh. Well, I'm telling you, they did. That's true. As long as I can remember watching it, it was just complete laughter. Was Oliver Hardy born in the United States?
Yes, he was born in Georgia in 1892. And as the story goes, he said it, he weighed 14 pounds at his birth.
Oh.
His first love was singing. And a number of his films, the Laurel and Hardy films, he sings in it. And I just wish that they would have maybe recorded some of those on record, some of his songs.
Larry, if somebody would want to get a hold of you to come and talk about Laurel and Hardy, what is the phone number that they can call?
They can call me at 484-4564. And we'd like to get into churches or nursing homes and show our films there.
Can people call you to join Sons of the Desert? Can they become members?
I can give them information, yes.
You can give them information on it. You know, we're starting to wind down a little bit, and I want to tell you, this is probably one of the most interesting interviews I've ever had, and I've had a lot of them. But when I'm saying I'm talking about nostalgia, we were talking about Laurel and Hardy and how Laurel and Hardy got started, which people my age, and not just mine, let's go back to some even younger people. And, you know, it's very important to them. And look at yourself. I mean, since you told me 6 years old. Is that correct? We really got
at that time, yes, that's when we first got television. Yes.
You know, I think that's great. What I'd like to do is maybe sometime maybe get you back over here to talk to us again, because it was just a delight having you here.
Well, thank you very much.
Could you give us the phone number again?
It's 484-4564.
Listen, Larry, I want to thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
Okay, and it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching another edition of Reflections. Stay tuned. We'll be back again shortly. In 1980, the idea of a community television consortium was put into motion. People who were responsible had a vision of local people who might have an interest in producing television programs for nonprofit groups and organizations would include health, education, and cultural. CTC now has more than 70 local organizations that make up the consortium, and each group may get involved by airing a program produced by the consortium. These programs are televised on Warner Cable Channel 11, Monday through Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. CTC members also benefit by being able to learn more about the TV industry through our workshops and actual on-the-job training. For more information, please give us a call at 493-8925 or write to CTC at Post Office Box 8335, Canton, Ohio 44711.